Welcome back, everybody, to another episode review of Black Lightning. Today we're going to review episode 3, Lawanda, the Book of Burial.
R.I.P. Lawanda.
R.I.P. Lawanda.
The upper room.
We had a lot of good stuff this episode, so we're going to hit it beat by beat and let you know our thoughts about what we felt about this episode. First things first, I want to give a shout out to Morpheus T68. You corrected us in our last video. That was Al Green, not Curtis Mayfield. Good looking out. And really, we just want to shout out everybody who's been our recent subscribers. Really thank you for subscribing to our content. Again, this guy right here, he does episode reviews for The Flash. I don't know how he gets through it without getting an aneurysm.
I'm not proud of it.
We do weekly reviews of the Arrow, that Arrow show. We're hanging on by a very, very thin line. So I don't know how we get through that as well. But, you know, again, thank you for subscribing and tell people about us and look forward to more content. All right, let's get into the episode. We start off in church. Again, rest in peace, Lawanda. And who is the pastor, the Reverend of the day? None other than Sir Clifton Powell.
AKA Creflo.
AKA, he might slap somebody. He didn't really convince me as a pastor because every time he was on screen, I just felt like he was going to do something shady, something dirty. But that's just Clifton Powell. He can't help that.
Make sure you count the collection plates.
But he did say something profound, though. He did say, if it ain't the police killing us, it's us killing us, and we need to do something about that.
So, I want to piggyback off that. And one theme that screamed off this episode was hope and new beginnings. Like, even after the death of the late sister, you saw that the whole community was going to a change and that there was a light among the horizon. And then you saw that displacement was whether this light was God or was it Black Lightning who was leading this revolution.
We also have Anissa out there looking like Layla Ali in a junkyard getting her strongman on. All right. Comic book aficionado, how we feeling about this?
I'm digging it so far. I think my only negative on that is right now they're just focusing on super strength, and I think that's because it's a basic power that's easy to do right now. But also it could be that they're evolving it. They're going to have her evolve her powers further on. I do hope that as the show goes on, that they expand it to know it's not that you're strong or that you're just strong. It's that you can literally change your density and your thickness and phrasing and your weight. Like I really hope they get into it on that aspect.
We get introduced to Lady Eve. Tobias comes in throwing money, having this conversation with Lady Eve. I'll let you take this, kid. What'd you think about that scene?
First of all, I thought this scene was amazing. I thought Jill Scott was flawless. I mean, in her delivery, honestly, I've rarely seen her act. I know she has plenty of projects out there, but she was phenomenal in this role. She was able to instill fear without doing much of anything, and I thought that was phenomenal. As a matter of fact, the way that her and Tobias played off each other was pretty masterful, because you saw that even though he's this big bad villain, there's this measure of respect and reverence that he has for her, even down to his lackeys, where he's like, look, you know, I'm talking like it's more of a mother relationship that you see than anything else, and I thought that was amazing. Yeah,
I was thoroughly confused. I came in, like, when he came in, I thought that he was the big man in charge, and then when she told him, you know, get you and your white devil out of here, I was just like, okay, who's in charge here? Like, what's going on here?
I got a theory on that. In the first episode, one of the big departures from the comics that the show is doing, which I like, and I think they're doing it for series potential, the 100 isn't one gang that's just really deep. It's a bunch of gangs. So I think they're on equal terms because I think they each lead one of the 100 gangs.
So they're like crime bosses of different areas. Let's move it on just a little bit. Of course, we got to introduce Ant Farm, see what she's up to, see what she's going through these days after all those traumatic experiences. Turns out her and Nelly look-alike are talking about having sex. So, moving on from that awkward moment on television. So, Anissa, you know, she's feeling herself. She's doing some book research. And in walks Grace Choi. All right, we know her from the comics. She's going to be introduced as a character more frequently on the show. What happens to be in her back pocket other than... No, you calm down, sir. You calm down, sir. In her back pocket is an Outsiders comic book.
Woo!
All right. Before I pass it to you, I just want to remind y'all about last week.
Let it go.
For those of you who watched that Arrow show, in the review, they were very excited about the Outsider shout out on the Arrow, you know, team, not Team Arrow.
I'm talking about NTA, New Team Arrow. They dropped the Outsiders.
Yep.
As I finish delivering my 2 cents and my blessedness that I threw in that review, and you ask me, I feel like Outsiders belong on Black Lightning. John, what do we need to know about the Outsiders, or what type? Not necessarily what we need to know about Outsiders. What revelations did we get from this moment of this conversation?
Okay, so there's literally a ton of stuff going on in that scene alone. Let's break it down. First of all, she pulls out an issue of the Outsiders. Eagle-eyed viewers would know that it was a DC comic. They didn't shy away from it. Old school DC, judging by the logo. So, what does that say? Are there DC comics in DC superhero shows? Second off, the characters she rattles off. Now, I was in mid-nerdgasm, so I probably missed some, but I definitely heard Looker and Supergirl. So, here's what we working with. Shout out, Supergirl wasn't in the Outsiders, but here's what we working with. One, they mentioned Supergirl as being a character in the comic. So that lets us intrinsically know that this show is not in the Arrowverse, and thank God. Second off, they mentioned Looker. So, for you people that don't know, Looker is one of the original members of the Outsiders. The first team. The team that Black Lightning was on, that Batman formed. Shout out Batman. And she was literally a vampire. She could do anything a vampire could do. So the fact that they threw her in as one of the original members in the comic is intriguing. And I'm also thinking that down the line, either they're going to spin it off, or either they're going to do it in the show first, or they're going to spin off another show, because we recently heard that the makers of Black Lightning want to have a Black Lightning verse. I think that is going to be the inspiration for her, Thunder, Lightning, and maybe Black Lightning as leader forming their own team called the Outsiders.
I can dig it. All right, that was a lot of information to digest. Hope you guys loved that nerdgasm as much as they did. We're going to move it on to just a little bit more. So, as the plot thickens, there's a march being planned to protest the 100. The police doesn't think it's a good idea. Jefferson doesn't think it's a good idea, but the Reverend, he feels like this is what the community wants and what they need. So, you know, Tobias is not liking this. He's sending a hitter, a shooter, to deal with this. So, Christian, you've been kind of quiet, so we're going to pass it off to you. What did you think about, you know, the plan as far as, it wasn't even really Black Lightning's plan. It was like a mixture of Gambi, more so Gambi than Black Lightning, about how they plan to deal with this. But how all of this went down. What did you think about that?
First of all, shout out to Gambi. He was doing his thing. But we'll get back to him later.
Yep.
Second off, you know, I feel like this was one of the weaker portions of the episode, and maybe this is me being as linear as possible, but there wasn't enough action for me this episode. We got a whole lot of character development. It was good character development, and it did not disappoint. I wasn't bored with it, but the action was lacking. And I think they could have done a little more than just send one guy out there to do a little scare that didn't even work. And then it didn't even matter because Whale comes in and does it himself. I think we need to talk about this character because we've been kind of shooing past him and dancing around him and whatnot. And that's the police chief. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like this character at all. He does have layers to him, though. I think he's a character worth talking about.
This is my whole thing about police, and I actually like his character because he's like the lone voice in the night, and he's shouting, "Look, we're fighting for you. The system will work for you." And he's like, "I understand all the setbacks, but he's like, my life, my job is trying to protect this city."
So that scene when Jefferson, Clifton Powell, and the inspector are together, that was a more realistic and, in my opinion, more nuanced version of the scene in The Dark Knight where Harvey Dent, Batman, and Commissioner Gordon get together. And they talk about, and they set them up as the three pillars of Gotham City.
I like that. Makes sense. Yeah. So take that as you will. Digest that. Take it all in. Mm-hmm. All right. So we're moving towards the end of the episode. Tobias, he sent his hitter. His hitter was dealt with. Tobias got his other hitter. Ended up hitting the Reverend and ended up hitting Nelly Clone. All right. He didn't die. So thank goodness.
R.I.P. his leg.
Unfortunately, Khalil would not run track, man. I'm sorry, man. But on a positive side, baby girl Ed Farm is not going to lose something on Saturday.
I don't know if I call that positive. That's fucked up for him. He's not gonna lose it either.
But Daddy won.
Let me speak on this scene. First of all, when he pulled up a shot, all I could think of was Boys in the Hood, man.
Ricky.
No, they don't shot Ricky. No,
Ricky, no!
I'm about to doughboy him. This is where the whole concept of hope came back to me, and the whole the whole bright shining future and how easily it was erased and snubbed out. Because now you have the pillar of the community, the Reverend, and you have that light that is almost dark, pretty much the shepherd of the community, and he's taken down. And then the hope for the future, this kid who's survived all these situations and turned out to be this clean cut kid who's almost on his way out of the hood and has a bright future snatched away from him. So how quickly hope can be shined and snatched away from you was one of the main things that I love for this episode.
So I see, just real quick, we see that this wasn't just a sad incident for Khalil in itself, but it's also going to be more character development for Ant Farm. So we can't forget that they sprinkle these little nuggets in here and give her little pieces in the episode. She probably has the least amount to do, but it's all part of her character development. So moving on a little bit forward, we got one more character to talk about, Lynn. All right, so she had her moments in here. We thought that it was a little rocky at first because she talked about taking baby girl to her place to stay, but I like how they cleaned it up. She came back and said, "I was just lashing out," because this is what grown people do. They have conversations and they apologize. All right, so Lynn was there. She was present throughout the whole episode. She was there at the march when when people got shot. And so one thing I want to touch on before we close it out and pass it around is that Nissa was obviously hiding something, and Lynn, using her black mom superpower, said, "You can't hide anything from me." So I like that. She tried to lie. It was like me and homegirl broke up, but she like, "Yeah, when we really ready to talk about it, come holler at me." So black mom superpowers, shout out. All right, guys, so that was our review for Black Lightning Episode 3, Lawanda, the Book of Burial. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments. What was your favorite moments? What moments really touched you or really spoke to you this episode? How are you liking the show so far? How do you feel about the Outsiders? Please talk about the Outsiders. So please join us back next week when we do our next review of Black Lightning. Again, check out our other shows. I Got the Runs, That Arrow Show. We review them weekly. Tell more people about what we do. And again, thank you for the likes and subscribes. And of course, hit that bell for more notifications of all of our content.
One more thing, in celebration of upcoming Black History, we will be featuring one black superhero every day in February. So keep a lookout for that.
In that moment with Gamby, we got to talk about that for a second. He actually, went Big Brother CCTV, pulled up the footage of Tobias out there doing the dirt. And he deleted the evidence that Tobias was there. So what are we supposed to make of that?
if this evidence presented, then Tobias can go to jail, right?
Right? Maybe. Yeah.
He doesn't want Black Lightning to stop doing what he's doing. He finally got him back on the team.
That makes sense.
And he's like, if he goes away, I've lost my son.
Well, I'll take it one step, not further, but in another direction. I think that if Black Lightning knew that Tobias was around, it would throw him off his game. Because we know that Tobias killed his father. So Tobias right now is kind of Black Lightning's kryptonite.
In the comics,
They already said it in episode 1.
I know, but
What are we missing here, John?
okay. In the comics, Gambit killed his father.